The Gulf Coast Growth Show is sponsored by Chevron Pasadena Refinery and is an extension of the Economic Alliance Houston Port Region, where our mission is to market and grow a vibrant regional economy. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Gulf Coast Growth Show. I'm your host, Jason Lee, joined by my co-host, Zeke Smith.
What's up, Jason?
And we are here with Joe Cotten, the Director of Procurement at Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing, and the now current Chairman of ABC Greater Houston. Joe, glad to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
Joe, you are one of the nicest guys I've ever met, that's for sure, and it's a pleasure to see you stepping into this role. We've had some former chairs and past chairs and sitting chairs on this show because we were big fans of ABC. ABC, essentially a partner organization out there still trying to make a difference in the industry, and now you're representing them, and we're glad to have you join us. And so we're going to touch up on a couple things today. We're going to talk a little bit about the PAC. We're going to talk a little bit about workforce development, and then also the benefits of what being a member of ABC. I know I've enjoyed it, and Zeke, you've been very impactful in the organization. So, but before we dive in, talk to us about your journey, both at Chamberlain, but then also with the ABC. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I've been with Chamberlain since 2001, and came to work. Never thought I'd work for a specialty subcontractor. Got my arm twisted by a recruiter, and when they finally capitulated and told me who the subcontractor was, I jumped right on board because Chamberlain was one of the best subcontractors I had working for me at the time.
Fantastic.
But it was all in an effort to get back to Houston, where my wife is from. She wanted to get back closer to her family and friends.
Okay. Where were you at the time?
We were in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And I'm not from Fort Worth, so I really had nothing else keeping me there except for a job. So, I came down, I gave it a test drive. The Mexican food and the attitude of Houston were right in line with what I was looking for. So it worked out really well for us.
Fantastic.
And as far as ABC, the leadership at Chamberlain, John Kafka specifically, had the foresight to tell me to get out of my comfort zone and go meet some people and join an organization and participate. And I did that, sometimes unwillingly, but I did it.
The old voluntold.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Well, I've been told I'm a soldier, and I'll walk into whatever I'm told to walk into.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And walked in initially, didn't know anybody, was fly on the wall, but just through time and showing up, it feels like now everybody there and everybody knows me. Mm-hmm. Served on every committee, feels like, and really important point along the way. I was in a commercial committee when the last president of ABC came in and said they needed some seats in the leadership class. So I signed up for that, and it really jump-started my career, I feel.
Nice.
I went from basically a project manager, an operations guy, to more of a bigger picture. And, I went from being a project manager to being an operations manager of another department at Chamberlain. And from there, we decided that there should be a procurement department at Chamberlain. We've gotten to the point that we need to do this. So I was asked to lead that up. So for the last 2 years, I've been trying to create a department from scratch. It's been a lot of fun, very interesting, challenging. And, like I said, I'm a soldier. So when our current president and CEO said that we need this, I said, let's go, let's do it. I said, I'm just going to need your help all the way through it. And then he said, okay.
Love it. I love the can-do and go-get-it attitude, and that's something that I know that you've embodied since I've known you in the organization, and it's going on 4 years. Or I'm actually walking into my 5th, so it's been a pleasure, being around you. And I really think from a servant leadership, servant heart, can't really think of a better guy suited for this role. So it's exciting to see you in that. Now we talked about. First of all, I love that story. I just got the email the other day about the leadership class that they're doing this year, and I was actually reading through the leadership class, and I actually have some individuals that are clients of mine that I'm going to send it to and say, hey, I would encourage you to get your guys here. I was looking at the itinerary and thinking, I kind of want to do that, but then there was I think it would be out of place. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll pass. But man, it looks like it was just phenomenal content. So great to hear that the class itself had an impact on you. That so much, in fact, that it kind of shifted your career. Because I think a lot of people don't really realize how valuable ABC can be to their employees if you leverage it to actually help them go get better. So it's cool to see you're like a real life success story. Now, one of the things that I've loved about the PAC, or I'm sorry, about ABC has been my opportunity with the PAC. I think I'll be very candid. Prior to getting involved in this industry, politics didn't really, it was important to me. I voted based on kind of what I assumed was important, right? And that's the reason why I got out to vote. It wasn't until I started working with business owners that are making an impact in the community, creating jobs, and really starting to understand what was impacting their worlds, that it really started to have more of a meaning to me, right? Because I started to realize, wow, this is actually going to flow back down to me and my family. I need to pay more attention, right? And then now we have a saying at ABC, right? Either get into politics or get out of business. And so I'd love to talk a little bit about the PAC and a little bit like your involvement there and how actively they play a role in the construction space.
Well, thanks for this opportunity. I'll tell you this, everyone is affected by politics. And a lot of people claim, most people claim they don't like politics. They don't want to talk politics. And that's fine. You don't have to like it and you don't have to talk it, but you can't get away from being affected by it.
Right.
And, I've always considered myself an educated person when it comes to politics. I always try to stay up on current events and what's going on and, just events of the day. And after going through the leadership class at ABC, part of the requirements we had was to attend a legislative walk in Austin.
Oh, wow.
So after going to Austin, seeing how it worked, seeing the big stick that ABC wields, because we get their attention when they say there's a group of ABC people who would like to speak to a representative, they usher you right in and please tell us what's on your mind. So that was great to see actually how it works and how it's intended to work. And one thing about the politics at ABC, they're not social agendas whatsoever.
Okay.
In order for ABC to maintain its 401(c) status, it is not allowed to speak toward anything except their industry.
Love it.
So we're not party affiliated, we're issue affiliated, and the issue is what's good for construction and for our members in construction. So that was the main thing. I went there as part of a requirement for leadership class. I saw the impact it made. I saw ABC's, the respect they garner, heard several stories and continue to hear stories. And now I have my own stories of ways that you can actually directly impact your own business. And, I still consider myself a small East Texas town guy. And to be able to have representatives tell you that I told your story on the floor of the House to get a bill passed, I couldn't believe it. I'm still floored to this day when I think about it, because I walked right out of there after hugging the congressman, called my mom and said, "You won't believe what just happened, but here's what your son did."
That's so cool.
And, it's just, that's the impact you have at ABC, and those are the doors it opens. And it's little things. Well, it seems like little things. When COVID shut down America, the last conversation that Governor Abbott had before he went to the podium and said construction's going to remain open and essential was with the president of ABC. That was the last conversation he had. And then he goes out and says they're staying open. So that kind of gives you an impact.
Unbelievable. That's a great real life example. Yeah.
And I encourage everyone to do that. And being a board member, I made that a priority. It's like, I'm going to get more involved with the PAC.
And let's do this. So if I champion probably more than anything the importance of that when I'm trying to recruit non-members to the organization. But for Merit Shop, right? Why is that such a critical thing? Because I know there's going to be people that are listening to this that don't really understand the concept behind that. But the Merit Shop philosophy is a kind of a critical thing that we're paying attention to and getting after. For those that don't know, can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, ABC was founded on the Merit Shop philosophy. So go way back to the 60s, and you have other construction organizations, but no one was addressing Merit Shop or speaking up for the Merit Shop industry. And a group of contractors got together and said there was a need and brought this into Houston and started it. And the Merit Shop essentially says that the low qualified bidder should get the job. And it doesn't matter who you're affiliated with, are you a union or are you open shop? It's, are you qualified? Are you responsible? You should get the job. And there's really nothing else. It's as simple as that. So we represent the Merit Shop company in Washington, in Austin. And what we advocate for it's like it's just what I said. And you don't have to belong to a union. You don't have to belong to, any kind of organized labor. Who I know if you're a Texan, generally, it doesn't make sense with the way Texans operate anyway. It's like if you can do the work and you can do it cheaper than the next guy, go do the work.
Well, because we've kept it that way, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And, we work, so you look at the ABC offices across the country, and they're on the front lines of these union battles. And we want to keep them there. We don't want to keep them in Houston. That's why we support it in Houston, is because we want to keep it free and open in the way it is. And I'll say this, most people have a conception that ABC is anti-union. That's not true. ABC is not anti-union. ABC just wants a seat at the table for the merit shop, because we feel if we get an equal shot at the work, let our work speak for us.
There you go.
And let the value speak for itself.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine going into a job interview, and then walking into that interview and then looking at my resume and then going, "Oh, you're not part of this organization. Sorry, you got to go." Like I don't. Like you'd be on the news the next day, right? I'd be on the news the next day, saying, "Hey, this is not fair," right? So
exactly.
So I love the fact that a person can come here. Zeke talked about it earlier. Find a few guys that are on our previous episode, but find a few people that are going to pay you and get a truck and get a job and then go start a business. And you can do that here in Texas. It's
exactly right.
Yeah, it's and ABC is a big part of that. Well, let's talk about people. Zeke?
Yeah. So Political Action Committee and political advocacy is a huge pillar of ABC nationally, but certainly in Texas and definitely here locally. But also workforce development. We all know from the Alliance and from ABC that we have a workforce shortage of skilled craft workers. Working for a specialty contractor like Joe does, we're feeling it. And so what would you say ABC is doing kind of on the front lines, to use that term, both commercial and industrial, to help move that forward and help fill those gaps of the workforce?
That's a great question, Zeke. I can tell you this. ABC, we were founded on the merit shop principles, and we're founded on workforce development. We have 4 pillars. That's 2 of them. That's 50% of who we are right there. And on the industrial side, we have CMEF, which is the Construction, Maintenance, and Education Foundation. And we joke that they're the best kept secret in Houston. And I just heard this morning that we may be the best kept secret in America, because the amount of training that we do and the amount of workforce development and skilled people that are produced, every year, that are actually, they come in unskilled, they walk out with skills, they have jobs waiting for them. And that's just on the industrial side. The commercial side, we're advocating C3, because a lot of our commercial contractors, we like to train in-house because we're so highly specialized, it's hard to outsource that. And I know at Chamberlain, when we train, we train towards craft, but at the same time, we train towards safety and we train toward our culture. And we don't, we like to keep all that in-house, but C3 is there to certify what we do. And all of our trainings, just like at CMEF or NCCER certified, they all come accredited. And C3 is a accreditation program that recognizes that you're doing things the right way, and they grade your program, and you're allowed to be, once you're recognized as C3, you're recognized as doing everything the right way, whether it's the way we train and certify our people, the way we pay our wages. We don't use 1099s. We pay everybody a fair wage, and everything's done on the up and up the way it should be, trying to create a level playing field for all contractors, which is actually at the right level. So we're not in a race to the bottom, we're the race to the best. And where does that best lie? So, the training models are different between industrial and commercial, but it's all the same goal. And that's just to create a better workforce. The industrial side, it's so great what CMEF does. It's so robust. There are 62 high schools in the Houston area who participate. So we go into the high schools and we offer them training and we offer them curriculum, and it's all NCCER, so it's accredited and it's transferable. So it goes with that student wherever they go. We work with the colleges. So I know Lone Star and Sanjack.
Yep.
We have classes in there, and so we all work together. It's not everybody working alone and trying to hit their same goals. It's like, no, everybody works together, and we all have the same goal.
Right.
Yeah, high tides lift all ships, right? So
Exactly.
that's what we're trying to do. We compete. I mean, certainly Joe and I don't from a company standpoint, but he has competitors that are members of organizations, but they're working together on these initiatives because we both need people, right? We all need people, and we need skilled people quickly.
Well, I think the importance of people is maybe the only thing keeping work from being mean more work being out there is the
100%.
fact that we can't find enough people.
100%.
And I love what both this and the Economic Alliance, ABC, and the Economic Alliance are doing to get out into these schools and talk to these kids. Because today, more than ever, I think there's this lack of awareness because it just doesn't look as sexy as being a YouTuber or whatever, being on social media and making a buck. But the percentage of people who are going to go out and make a living doing that, when you look at the number of users that are out there versus the kid that could graduate high school and in about a year be making six figures. Couple of years, right? Be making six figures.
No doubt.
Is mind blowing. If we just get the word out, we can just spread the good news.
Right, and we have a pitch that our HR director uses, and it's right on. You can come out of high school directly. You can get a job, and we'll start training you for a skill that you'll always have, and you can make $40,000-$50,000 a year working and getting this skill. So let's say let's just say $50,000 for round numbers. You work for 4 years, you get the training, you get the experience, and you're paid $100,000 over 4 years. We'll take that same person and put them in college, so they come out educated, but they come out $100,000 in debt, with no experience.
Right.
So it's like you're getting paid for that experience if you come into work, and it's great training, and it's a great alternative for people who only thought there was college. And college, I tell people all the time, there are some very high performers at our office that did not go to college. And the fact they didn't go is like, yeah, they were smarter than me because they could do all this without college. I had to have college to get in. And but you see the people that don't, why would you have to put that burden on to say that they have to when some people, it's just not required. And some things we do don't require college anyway. So it really comes down to the individual.
Yeah, and I think there's a push, obviously, back in our days. I'll age us in this similar age group. They called it shop. So that's come back around, right? That disappeared for a long time. Now we call it lab. Campuses now are just built around this. We're in February, so CTE, or Career and Technical Education. ISDs, colleges, schools have campuses for that now, which is great. That's a win. ABC's helped with that, by the way, push those, raise funds, et cetera, et cetera. That's one. The second thing is, parents still think today that college is the number one choice for their kids, their own children, right? So we're trying to not say, you're wrong, mom and dad, that's not, but hey, maybe not right now. And so Joe made a great point. So I've talked to high school students all the time. Yes, I went to college, and maybe my starting salary was more than we pay our apprentices when they come out of high school, but I darn sure didn't keep as much as they're going to be keeping, right? So they're earning while they're learning.
Yes.
I didn't. I'm paying off loans and debt and credit. I was an idiot with credit cards and things like that, right? So you're paying that off. I mean, they're keeping 3 times what I kept of the money I made. So it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, right? And by the way, if you go work for certain organizations and you have some tenure there and you grow and you learn and you achieve those, like you said, nationally recognized, stackable, portable credentials for like NCCR, maybe the organization supplements your college later. If you want to go back and say, hey, I want to go to college later. So, we talked about my CEO. He did that for a former company. He started as an iron worker apprentice, decided later on, hey, I want to get into management. I want to go to college. And the company he worked for helped supplement that. So go to work, earn a craft or earn a trade, right? And start earning money. And then if you work for a great organization, hopefully they help you pay for that college if and when that's becomes right for you. So I think that's something I'm real proud of, the ABC's push. They have committees they're solely focused on getting out of these high schools and just, if nothing else, just talking to them about the opportunities that this industry, both construction, commercial, industry, industrial, and the alliance, right? The industrial space that this region provides. I think it's a huge, huge, huge plus, and I'm very proud to be a part of it and proud that Joe's leading it.
So with that, let's as we get ready to wrap up, I wanted to make sure we capture kind of the value of being an ABC member. I've gotten to experience so much of it. I mean, I can tell you as a non-construction professional who's been there, I would be considered vendor status. stepping into that space. But personally, I've gained the awareness of the industry. I mean, prior to that, I mean, I would have clients in construction, but I wouldn't be able to understand what their pains were and really what they were experiencing and be able to speak their language. So ABC's helped me with that, right? I came in as a kind of an imposter, and then I learned more as I got in there. But I would just say the education and things that they do. But Joe, we're talking about, what is it, 20 plus years in the industry now, right? And the same company. If you had to petition and you were sitting in front of a business owner and he says, Joe, why should I invest in getting my organization to join ABC, what would be your words to them?
Well, first of all, I'm obviously partial to ABC, but I have belonged to the other organizations in town, and they all offer something for someone. So I'd advocate AGC, ASA, ABC, but they're all unique. And ABC is unique, and they promote the merit shop first and foremost, and they're really the only ones that do. The other is, when you're an ABC, it takes everybody. You have the general contractors, the subcontractors, the associates. We have architects,
Suppliers.
engineers, suppliers, vendors. Everyone is there. And I feel like that's where you build the relationships, where you build your construction teams, the people you want to work for. And I can tell you, I always thought it was interesting going to, I was always part of AGC. When I came out of A&M, I was in AGC. I was not an officer in AGC. But I always noticed we kind of rubbed elbows with the general contractors. And these aren't the people I work with. I mean, they're people I want to grab a resume from, and maybe hire them away. But with ABC, I feel like I'm building the team. It's like everyone is there, everyone's represented. And the fact that you're at ABC, you're a cut above, because you're doing things to better your employees, better your company, and you're surrounding yourself with the right people and the right organizations, people you want to do business with. And that's what I really appreciate as a member, a direct impact for membership are those relationships or people that you want to work with.
Fantastic.
Well, and you said it. It's one of the only organizations, at least in our space, that is surrounded around a philosophy, not just a commonality of what we do for a living.
Right.
Right. So you can have those organizations that say, you're X, and so this is the group of X's. Right. It's similar very much to Economic Alliance. Like our mission is to grow the economy. You can own a hotel, you can be a financial services guy, you can be in construction, you can be an owner, petrochem. Doesn't matter. If your mission is to grow this region and economy, you're in.
Yeah.
Very similar to ABC. If you're a pro merit shop philosophy and giving everybody a shot at the table to win business and grow this industry and make our people better, then we want you, right? And so it doesn't matter if you do this type of work or not. If you're affiliated with the industry and you have this philosophy, you're in. Let's go. Let's drive it forward. So I think that's something that's unique and special about it, and very similar to the Alliance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the one thing that I would add on that is, if you do join whatever organization you decide to hang your hat at, ABC being a great one, Economic Alliance being a great one,
We'd say both. We'd say you should do both. Right?
One of the first words I hear out of people's mouth is, "Did you get business out?" And that's the first thing that and I get that because you're looking for an ROI. But my encouragement would be that it took me 24 months to get my first opportunity at business here, and that's because it took me. I had to earn trust. I had to earn credibility. I had to
show up.
I had to show up. I had to be there because I'm in a relational business. It's not I would say it's not commoditized, right? People would kick you to the curb if you're not going to be there with them for the long run. So, and then what I've witnessed though is what you just described. Now the relationships are so much more than just being every time I look at the bill come in the statement or whatever, I every year I'm measuring it far more than just the ROI of what, I'm not looking, well, how much business have I gotten out of it? I look at the immeasurables of the relationships and the knowledge, the things that I've gotten to be a part of. And then then it's like more of, I can't afford to not be a member.
Yeah.
But the one thing you have to do if you're listening, you got to get somebody, if it's not going to be you got to get somebody to get down there. You can't just throw it up there, show up to a couple of breakfasts, never meet anybody, not get plugged in, get to the end of the year, look that you got nothing out of it, and then say, well, that organization's no good. you got to be involved. It takes a
time,
commitment.
yeah, it's time, talent, and treasure, and you got to give to the three at least. And you can't just stroke a check. I mean, we'll take it, but you won't see that. And I encourage folks to change that expectation of ROI to ROE, return on expectations. What are your expectations of being involved in this organization, right? So I think a lot of companies that are involved and just stroke that check every year without question, it's yes, maybe get some business out of it, but it's perception, it's a social media presence, it's training, it's networking, it's safety. There's safety accreditation programs. And there's so much more to offer that I think. And whether again, you said it, Joe, you said it great. ABC or other organization strongly encourage you to get involved. Obviously, we're biased to this one at the Alliance and ABC and their partner organizations. And if I've told multiple people, as you have, Jason, it's like these are the first two I'd start with. If you're in this space, industrial or commercial, and even our commercial friends dabble in the industrial space to some extent, right? So I think that's
If you're in Houston,
right. If you're here, right?
Yeah.
So no doubt. So I think that's an important note. So
Right, and I think a lot of the value too. So you talk about ROI. Well, how do you measure personal growth?
yeah, right.
And I can tell you, our ownership, they advocated for people to go for personal growth
Love it.
because we are now the managers of our company when we started off in the young professionals, and now we're on the board of directors.
Yeah.
And it's a personal growth, and we're bringing the value of Chamberlain up by the people who are in it. They're just developing,
Of course.
and there's so much more than business. Just getting business is great, but you're growing your people when you do this.
No doubt.
Love it.
And that'll help you get business anyway, right?
That's right.
Well, Joe, as we get ready to wrap up, we've done great to talk about ABC and really your role there and then the belief of that. But I want to make sure I give you at least one chance to give some gratitude out or anything else that you want to make sure we capture before we wrap up the show. Is there anything that we missed or didn't cover or anything that you want to make sure we tackle before we exit the show?
Well, if it comes to gratitude for me, it starts and stops with Jesus Christ. I could not be here without him. I'm learning every day that there's more to what I thought and who I thought Jesus was. I've been going through a lot of professional storms, if you can imagine. With I have the professional storms. They're trying to create a department from scratch and everything. Right. A lot of trial and error. At home, I have a 12 and a 14-year-old. So I'm all the parents out there. I don't have to explain anything further to you.
Yeah.
And what I've learned are the storms, they bring you closer to Christ. And I appreciate that. And I've come to appreciate the storm because I always know that when things are the darkest is when I'm pulling closest to the Word. And in hindsight, I always appreciate that more. It's like that was benefit right there. The hard times, they make you better, but they reset your mind. They help you prioritize. And I really appreciate those times in hindsight. It's funny now. I'm getting older. I'm starting to appreciate it in the storm.
I love it.
And I think that's a big gratitude for me. Of course, I couldn't do anything without my wife. Mm-hmm. She is, and it's funny. I just told our pastor this the other day because she's now like the chair of one of our little church councils. Because I told him, I go, well, you finally put my wife on a committee and you realize that she is the brains of the operation.
Yeah.
here at the Cotten House.
Yeah.
And she's my backbone. And and at work, it's our CEOs is John Kafka and Art Canales. That was our previous president and CEO is John Kafka. Our current is Art Canales. Mr. Kafka retired, and both of them can be summarized with one word. It's integrity. And having people that you work for, that you believe in, and that they always have your best interest at heart, it's very easy to go to work.
Amen.
And they just give you a great role model to try to be like.
I love it.
Love it, man.
Well, it's been an honor having you today, and I love what you just said. I mean, I heard this, or I was thinking this the other day, but God's not concerned about our comfort; He's concerned about our character.
That's right.
And so that's really where it's defined. And I know that He's worked on your character quite a bit because you have a great one. So
Thank you.
Glad to have you on the show today. And for our audience, again, Joe Cotten, the Director of Procurement at Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing, and the current chairman of ABC Greater Houston. It's been great having you out on today,
Thanks,
Zeke. As always, love having you with me, my illustrious sidekick. We're doing great things. And for those in our audience, we would encourage you to stay tuned in. Please pay this episode forward. Give it out to somebody. communicate to somebody that needs to hear the story of this great region. That's our mission. That's what we want to do every week when we put the show on. And if you want to stay plugged into myself and Zeke, you have some feedback, you want to recommend anybody that we should have on the show, shoot us a message on LinkedIn. It's the easiest way to track us down, and then follow. And to subscribe, you can go to HoustonPortRegion.com and subscribe to all of our channels on the media page, and you'll get updates on our show every time it comes out. So again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to go to the Economic Alliance Houston Port Region website and subscribe to our channels. And let's pay it forward by sharing the good news of what's happening in our region by passing this episode to somebody you know.